You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the recent moves around the Eastern Conference as the Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks have both made big moves to change the direction of their teams. We're also going to talk about AK's lack of moves over the last few years. And is Zach LaVine actually staying put as a Chicago Bull? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Pat, there's been a very active day in the Eastern Conference, and unfortunately, none of it was the Chicago Bulls. So the Miami Heat decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on a trade that, not the trade's been rumored, but everybody's kind of known that the Miami Heat were looking to kind of move around some of their assets. They moved the carcass of Kyle Lowry and that BBL for a 2027 heavily protected first round pick for Terry Rozier. Now, Terry Rozier is a player that to me fits Heat culture. When you look at it, averaging over 20 points per game, he's definitely an active defender, not a lockdown defender by any stretch, but he gets active. He also is averaging, I think, like seven, taking almost 8 3-pointers per game, hitting that at almost 35% clip. This is a guy that can help this team. They maintain their depth in Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. They also maintain some flexibility if another trade comes up. Talking about just that move first in this, how do you feel about that move that the Miami Heat made?
Listen, it continues to put us further behind the 8-ball. I'll tell you that much. I mean, it's a good move for the team. I think the part, a lot of people, Ringo, diehard Heat fan, but the only one. But people who watch the Heat and claim to be fans, I've heard a lot of people talking about the 7 assists, and I've watched more Charlotte Hornet games than I'm proud to say. Well, look how he get them assists. Right, it's a lot of like bail out. Let me kick this to the last man who might be open. Type your digs. I don't think that's going to work on the Miami Heat. I do think he could be an elite scorer for that team, and I think at the end of the day, this is one of those guys where he's the role player that you needed while not giving up anything. Right, like that's really what you see from him. It's like, what's he going to do? Score. What else is he going to do? He's going to try and be as active as he can defensively, and he's probably willing to punch somebody in their mouth.
The thing that I like about that is interesting about the Terry Rozier piece is that up until he was traded to Charlotte, he was mainly just known as a defense guy who could do a little bit of scoring. He never averaged more than 11 points per game with the Boston Celtics. He goes to the Charlotte Hornets, a team where he kind of has more flexibility. He immediately becomes an 18-point per game scorer there, goes on to average in totality in his time with the Charlotte Hornets, the 6 seasons there, over 20 points per game that whole entire time. Now, you mentioned the 6 assists, and the thing that I'm saying with that is that who the heck was he passing to? LaMelo Ball has been on one leg and ankle basically the whole time there. It's been him and Melo for the most part. So I get the 6 assists aren't the true type. Like they're not a Kobe White 6 assist, right? Kobe White gets 5 assists, but he's actually breaking down what.
That's wild to say. Just that we're at the point we're going, it's not a Kobe White assist.
It's not a Kobe White assist. But I do think that with the play style of the Miami Heat and the fact that they move the ball around a little bit more, I don't think he's going to get the 6.5 assists that he's getting in Charlotte, but I do think that he's going to be able to fit in that system. Do think he's going to be a really good scorer, but I think we're going to see now you have Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler as defenders out on the wing. And I think that is going to cause a lot of turnovers for the Miami Heat. That's going to help them get out in transition as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you this, they didn't get worse today. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like I don't believe Terry Rozier is a true point. And I think that might be something that Miami needs for that team to go out there and have the ultimate success. But you also got Jimmy Butler, who's basically dragged the carcass of the Miami Heat to the finals in multiple appearances because half of the team basically died on the way there. And it was just like, Gabe, shoot. I mean, like, you're not in that situation now where you're bringing in a player that is you'd be surprised if he had a high scoring output. That's not going to happen with Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is a scorer. You know what he's going to do. You know what he's going to bring. And the Miami Heat did not get worse. They got better in an Eastern Conference that, to me, is making moves that are helping a lot of teams get better.
Agreed. 100% agree with you on that one. And, that was how the day started. And then it got a little bit more interesting as the day went on, Pat. As Adrian Griffin, who we talked about and told you guys not even a week ago, was a horrible head coach, and the Milwaukee Bucks were winning games based off the talent that they have there. Yeah. But it's not like their coach was coaching them up to be even higher than that. Well, it all came to a head the night before when Giannis Antetokounmpo actually took the clipboard, and drew up plays. Giannis Antetokounmpo had to draw up plays, and then the next day, Adrian Griffin was fired, and then 4 hours after firing Adrian Griffin, Doc Rivers is now back in the NBA as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Doc is back, baby.
Doc is back, but yet we've been in the bottom half of the league and gave our coach an extent. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the next segment. What do you think about Doc being back, bro?
I mean, listen, I think here's the thing. The number one question that does pop into both of our minds is, why won't the Bulls do anything? But
because they don't care about us.
They're not going to get worse. Again, they're not getting worse. Listen, for all the things that Doc Rivers isn't, what he is a coach that's consistently in the playoffs, that's consistently gone deep into playoffs, that has consistently been in the Western Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals was not a thing for him in Philly, but you looked at him in Boston, you look at his time and what he did in Orlando, going all the way. Like, he's a coach that's going to get you to a certain point, and you hope that you have a magical run that pushes you over the top. He's got two guys that have the ability to take you on a magical run. You got Dame Lillard, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I will say this: the fact that Giannis was drawing up plays, you knew it was over, bro. Like, you knew that there was no way that Adrian Griffin was going to be, because what play is Giannis drawing up, bro? Like what play was Giannis drawing up there? That was just an elite. Like, there's no way Giannis was out here putting together some great ball movement, some great off-ball action. I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it.
Hey, when Giannis is a coach in 2045, just remember this moment.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I fully expect us to hear Giannis talking like later on down the line, where he's like breaking down basketball, and we're just like, yeah, all right, Giannis, that's cool. This is what Giannis drew up on the bench, by the way. This is the play that Giannis drew up.
Hey, better than Lou Getzey.
Hey, bro. I mean, listen.
Better than Lou Getzey, my brother.
The play Giannis drew up. Just straight down the middle, dive. Let me get that ball, two-hand jam. Like, I don't know.
Crazy.
But I think it speaks to the conversation. I asked you this, right? Like, the question on, like, the Bulls continue to fall farther and farther behind. And it's not like they don't have the ability to do things. They just seem like they won't.
We'll talk about. They don't care, Pat. They don't care. They don't care. We'll talk about it. But, like, do you, with the Milwaukee Bucks being this aggressive, immediately going out after and getting Doc Rivers, does this change the way that you view them at all?
No. They were a good basketball team. They just had a terrible head coach that was he was drawing the same thing up Giannis was, run. And for Dame, it was a pass play. It was 4 verts for Dame. That's all that we was getting out of this, bro. Like, no, it doesn't change how I feel about the Bucks. The Bucks are, I'll say this. I do think that it changes championship aspirations.
Okay.
Because what are they right now? 28-17 or 28
Bucks? No, they're like 30 and something, right?
Is it? It's a lot of games there. But whatever.
30 and 13.
30 and 13, right? 30 and 13. So a lot of games above 500, and you looked at that team and you literally went, they're not winning a championship. Like, I never watched the Milwaukee Bucks on a night in, night out basis and went, "Yep, that's a championship level team." I thought
because
Boston
they weren't
themselves.
running any offense. It was literally just, we are talented, stop us, and teams are like, we tried, we couldn't do it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't feel like much changed talent wise, but now you've got somebody who, to me, listen, all you got to do, I just need Doc, understand this. It's pick and roll with Giannis and Day. I have to play up on the pick and roll because it's Day, which means Giannis is going to roll. So there's a bunch of people down there that's going to die. All these people back there, they dead. Just don't.
Why straight to death, Pat?
Bro, you ever seen Giannis come to the hole?
Bro,
that was crazy.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
That was
wild.
That's wild.
Also, we did get a picture of the actual play that Giannis drew up, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty.
I mean, that looks like a Giannis.
For you guys who are on the for you guys who are on the podcast side, it's a Giannis play. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. But anyway, with that said, we gotta move on, man. Next up, we're gonna be talking about the lack of activity from the Chicago Bulls. But before we get into that, I gotta talk to you guys about a couple of our sponsors. The first one that we gotta talk about is Hungry Root. Trying to eat a little healthier in 2024, Hungry Root is here to rescue you from short-lived resolutions by making meal planning easy and nutritious. Build healthy habits that won't disappear by February with Hungry Root. Whether you're braving the cold or dealing with crowds, grocery shopping this time of year is the worst. Why not stay at home and let Hungry Root handle it? With Hungry Root, you can kickstart a week of healthy eating and get groceries delivered right to your door. Hungry Root makes it easier for everyone to eat healthy with support of all the major diets and lifestyles, including gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, dairy-free, low-carb, and others. If this applies to you or someone that you know, please share how this helps with your particular lifestyle. Hungry Root provides value in both ways, saving money, reducing food waste, saving time, and we have a special discount offer, 40% off free veggies for life.
Yeah.
Hungry Root is the easiest way to get fresh, high-quality food delivered to your door. They've got healthy groceries and simple recipes all in one place. Take a fun, short quiz, and Hungry Root will get to know you, your goals, and how you like to eat. They'll ask what flavors you like, what kitchen appliances you use, and more. And then they'll keep your needs and preferences top of mind and start building your cart with delicious recipes and all your grocery needs for the week. Hungry Root goes beyond your weekly grocery haul with thousands of easy recipes that actually put groceries to good use before they get forgotten in the back of your fridge. Right now, Hungry Root is offering Locked On Bulls listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/lockedon to get 40% off your first delivery and get your free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/lockedon. Don't forget to use the link so they'll know we sent you. Also want to talk to you guys about eBay Motors. It's been one of our sponsors for a while now. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home the win we need. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items, exclusions do apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only eligible to U.S. customers. All right, Pat, we got to talk about these Bulls, man. No activity for the Chicago Bulls once again. And in talking about those moves that the other teams did in the Eastern Conference, the thing that highlights it is when you look at the Miami Heat move, I look at that as saying a team took Kyle Lowry, who they weren't getting a lot out of, and they turned it into a player that's going to give them more. Like you said, they got better. They didn't get worse. And the Milwaukee Bucks didn't want to stay stagnant, even though that they were winning with the head coach, and decided to make a move that's going to better their team, hopefully for a playoff run. And the Chicago Bulls, despite having mid-level exceptions still, we got $20 million in exceptions just sitting there. We have Lonzo Ball's contract, who we've been hearing now that the Bulls may be more open to move than ever before, but it's still a lack of movement. You brought up a great thing that we were talking about off air as far as how many deals has Kane Eversley missed out on. And I think that's such an important way to view this, because you talk about it a lot. They got offered a deal for Zach LaVine at last year's trade deadline. They decided not to move off of that. And now you're in a place where you kind of have to move Zach. Guess you don't necessarily have to, but you're looking to move Zach. And the market is all but zero at this point. So when you look at the lack of movement from this front office, Pat, how does that make you feel?
I mean, you got to ask the question, right? Do you still trust Acme? And at this point, it's a tough question to ask. I really feel like when you look at this team in the long term, you don't see a lot of long term, right? Kobe White is something that they have really kind of just ended up, I don't want to say lucking into, because he developed, right? Like he did some things that helped his game get better, but it feels like he's a player that you ended up just kind of rolling the dice with, and it ended up working out for you. Outside of that, though, these roll of the dices have come up snake eyes every time.
Well, it's great that you point that out, because listen, like Kobe White, the ascension that Kobe White has been on has been great. I'm not talking anything negative about what Kobe White has turned into, because I love it. We love Kobe here. Yeah. But how concerning is it that the player that's made the step, the leap, whatever you want to call it, is still a draft pick by the former front office? We haven't seen a single player that this front office has drafted that has turned into what you wanted them to turn into yet.
Yeah, no, I think that's all very valid. And I think that's the problem, right? When I talk about trusting AK and how they first got here, and it felt like there was going to be contingency plans on contingency plans on contingency plans, it seems like there's one plan. And we've been trying to run back that one plan since the day that Lonzo Ball went down. And first off, hold on, side note. Did you see LeVar Ball call this man Lonzo damaged goods?
Bro,
this was crazy. Is wild, bro.
I appreciate the reality that LeVar Ball, because listen, there's so often that LeVar Ball, like when the Lonzo thing first went down, he's like, oh yeah, just come out and work with me. I'll have him right in the summer. He'll be back. It's been 2 summers, bro. He's not back.
Stop working with him. Yeah. But no, I look at this whole situation, and to me, the deals that you've missed have put the Bulls behind the 8 ball. The deals that you haven't been willing to go out and try to attack have put the Bulls behind the 8 ball. All these people that are dying to sign here in Chicago, that haven't signed here in Chicago, has put the Bulls behind the 8 ball. And you know what? Yeah, I think the way that they started this off, you did have to do that. You had to rebuild the mindset that the Bulls wanted to win, that they wanted to be a winning organization, that they wanted to go out there and compete for you to get people to come to Chicago. But the fact that you haven't tried to make any changes, the fact that you haven't tried to, and when you tried to make changes, because your back's up against the wall, and the player himself basically went out there and requested a trade, like, what are you supposed to do with that? What is that? That's not you wanting to make change. That's change having to come because you were in a no-win situation. And guess what? You're still in a no-win situation, because you're watching a basketball team right now that continues to go out there, and even in losing efforts, plays better than the team that has Zach LaVine on the floor. So you putting him back out there? You like what's the game plan there? DeMar DeRozan. There's so many pieces on this team that just you don't see the long-term success in outside of Kobe. And like you said, Kobe's not even a member of this regime. Like, it's tough.
It is tough. And I don't want to oversimplify like what it takes to be successful as a front office. Like, I get it. Like, we all can play armchair GM, but like the thing that is the job at the GM that we can't do here is you have to future forecast. You have to be willing to move on. Like, us as fans, we get attached to players. We sit there and say, oh, there's no way. We don't want to see them trade tomorrow. Like, that's not what we're saying. But I'm just saying things like that. But it seems like this front office took on that mindset. And it's a detriment to the team when you have a front office that is so tied to players that they just like, no, my precious.
Yeah.
And then by the time it's time to let it go, it's like, no, nobody want it. It's tarnished now.
I guess here's the one question that you have to ask. Do the Bulls have to go through this to build up the trust that they had kind of destroyed among players in the NBA? Do you have to go through the loyalty phase in players to build that trust back up? Because you just when you thought you were building the trust back up, right? Like you trade away Derrick Rose, who won an MVP for this city, who has gone on to still have a long career. Now he hasn't been the number one. You might have needed to change things there, but I think that hurt how a lot of people viewed Chicago.
Well, it was the combination of that, because it wasn't just the Derrick Rose. It's the fact that Tibbs, Rose, Noah, Butler, all back to it was just all subsequent years. It was bad.
You basically said, I'm going to blow it up, when realistically you had Jimmy Butler here.
Yeah.
You had Jimmy Butler and Thibs here. You don't think that could have worked in some dynamic? Yeah. Like you couldn't rebuild. We don't know how to build a team around Jimmy Butler.
That's still a crazy statement.
Is the same that this team has.
But then that same front office 2 years later then it goes on to say, hey, we don't know how to do this anymore. You probably should bring some new guys in. Otherwise, they would have still been here.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that concerns us most. That's the part that concerns me most about the direction. I guess are the Bulls having to go through a necessary evil because of the stain that was put on the organization? Because they got rid of Jimmy Butler pretty much in the same fashion you got rid of Derrick Rose.
No, and I definitely understand that, and what you're saying about changing the go through that loyalty through Zach, DeMar, even to the degree Lonzo Ball. I definitely understand that. But the thing is that while you may have rebuilt the image of loyalty, you've now built a new image of inaction and ineptitude of building a consistent team. And that may be more detrimental than the loyalty piece of it. Because honestly, you come in as a new front office, long as you're winning, to me, you don't have to rebuild the trust of loyalty from a new front office if you build something that's sustainable and win. And I think players will understand, hey, they were trying to do what they can to win because we had one for so long. But now you have this look, whether right or wrong or how much of it is valid, people look at this Bulls front office as being inept, and that is worse.
Well, I think I'll tell you what's even worse. They look at the Bulls front office as being stagnant.
Yeah.
We've literally watched you build a team and then just not do anything else. When's the last time we saw AK? I see Ryan Poles every 3 weeks. Not realistically, but we've seen him probably 4 or 5 times this season.
Yeah.
When's the last time we saw Mark Eversley? When's the last time? This is turning into, right, that first season when we were winning, we saw him a bunch.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's at the game. He's kicking it. Oh, he's doing a presser. Oh, let's get over here. Let's hear what he's got to say. This guy's a genius. And then when it all went bad,
after the trade deadline, whatever they do, we won't see him again. They'll have their normal presser after the trade deadline. They'll either be talking about and explaining why they didn't make moves, or maybe, just maybe, they're on there saying, hey, we made we made a move, or we made a series of moves, and we think that this is going to improve where we stand.
Yeah. We'll see what it ends up being. I fully doubt we're going to see a ton of change. I do think you need to find a way to get shooters here. And I don't know who you're going to trade to get more shooters here, but
hey, bro, I'm telling you right now.
It doesn't sound like Zach LaVine's leaving.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second.
That's gone. That's what I'm in here. That's
the shooter that we're adding, exactly.
The shooter that we're adding is the guy that's been here the entire time. Hey, listen, it's a gamble, but we got to tell you guys about. I tried to make that transition. I depressed myself.
You try. Get an A for effort, bro.
I depressed myself halfway through it. I was like, man, it's a gamble. Hey, we do got to tell you guys about FanDuel, though, before we talk about that Zach LaVine topic. The NFL regular season is wrapping up. I hate to say that. It's almost over, guys, but there's still time to go get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 back in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. This app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays, Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make parlays in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right, Pat. At some point, you just got to come to the realization of what's happening around here, right? Zach LaVine ain't going nowhere. And apparently teams are in on DeMar DeRozan. People want everything people want a lot of pieces that are on the Bulls, and they don't want the piece that we're trying to give up. It's crazy. It's crazy to say. But right now, the odds are that Zach LaVine is probably going to stay here at the Chicago Bulls. Now, again, can it still work? Possibly. I know you have a take as far as like just being over like that this team plays better without Zach, but when you look at the possibility and the chances increasing that Zach LaVine stays there after the February 8th deadline, how does that make you feel, Pat?
I mean, I think the thing is the question, like you said, can the Bulls make it work? Because I think at the end of the day, you're running back the same situation. You're running back the same scenario here. You're running back what you've been doing the last 4 years. Where can you make a change in that? If DeMar DeRozan is a name that comes up, and remember, it's not that I want to see DeMar DeRozan leave, but the Bulls are far apart with DeMar DeRozan on money and years. That's a contract. So basically there's no contract in place, the last that we'd heard. And in the year of an expiring deal, I would think that you want to go out there and you want to bring back something for a DeMar DeRozan, because the four of them together aren't going to win. I will say this, if there's any caveat to what we've seen from Zach LaVine, it's always been with DeMar DeRozan on the floor. What does this team look like in a Kobe, Zach, Vooch scenario? Where you're kind of getting that same DeMar feel. Kobe's not losing any of his shots, and Zach LaVine is still able to go out there and be the shooter that you need on this team. Above 40% shooter that we need on this team. There's nobody to throw the basketball to that can knock down the three ball consistently right now. Javon Carter, what are you doing? I mean, Javon Carter, I saw the play.
Let's come on. Javon Carter.
Listen. The play is out there. Giannis sent the play from Milwaukee for Javon Carter to run. Same play. It's the same play. Except he doesn't actually go towards the arrow. He just pump fakes. That's all that happens there. He doesn't run the play. That's the problem. But I just, with Zach LaVine staying put, you need to find something else to make the mix work. Because if it is right, like it's being reported that, and Shams has said this multiple times, nobody wants him. It's the injury concerns. It's the years on the contract. It's the money attached to the contract, which I'm kind of surprised that people are so worried about the money attached to the contract. It's one of the cheaper contracts out there. But
I mean,
as far as max players, I should say.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say,
as far as max players.
It's like the 18th largest contract in the league. I think he's even higher than that.
Yeah. But it's just, you have to find a way to make it work here. And yeah, that the way that it may work is somebody's going to have to sit down and tell Zach LaVine, you're not number one. You're not the end of the game guy. You're not the guy. You're Klay Thompson. We're coming up with our own Steph Curry.
That could be it. That could be the key. Now, is Billy Donovan the coach to be able to say that, though?
No,
I don't think,
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think that goes back to AK's lack of moves. Like, that's the problem. If Zach's staying put, how's Billy work?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. 48% win percentage as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls gets you undetermined amount of extension on your contract, apparently. So,
and I'm not. It's. I'll tell you this. I think this is the one observation I did have from going to the UC. It's dead.
Was the UC dead? The UC was dead?
When I tell you the cheering you hear is for big plays, and it immediately goes dead in there. The excitement you hear is when somebody dunks the basketball, and then it goes dead in there. Now, if it's a close game at the end of the game, it was a blowout for us, right? But if it's a close game at the end of the game, you might get some excitement at the end of the fourth quarter. Muggs might be hyped, but like, dog, outside of that, like, it's quiet. Like, remember when you was like, hey, Jimmy, like, it's that.
That's crazy. We almost had to run a fade on Jimmy Butler. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy.
We would have lost.
No, we wouldn't have.
Hey, bro, he got 15 dudes willing to fight for him. It was me and you.
Hey, that's all we need. It's all we need.
Hey, listen. Yeah, as long as we got that thing.
Exactly.
I got that. I packed that thing too. That's the only way we gonna make it out of there.
That plus we had the play drawn up by Giannis. We can't fail.
We couldn't lose, bro. We couldn't lose, bro. No, I'm very disappointed in how Acme has handled the entire Zach LaVine situation for the years that he has. I'm very disappointed in the outcome of it. And it's not even to say that I don't want Zach LaVine to be a Chicago Bull. It's more so to say you haven't put most of your players on this team in a position to be successful.
Yeah. We'll see, man. Let's see what happens in the future, bro. Let's keep hope alive. Let's see. Maybe we're here February 8th and we're both shocked by AK going to work.
Hey, listen, if the DeMar trades end up going through, I mean, like, just shooters back. That's all I need. Somebody to shoot the basketball. Send DeMar to Charlotte. Let him be down there with OBBL. Not the other one.
Listen, first of all, anybody, before we go, anybody who's saying hopefully Kyle Lowry gets bought out and then he signs with the Chicago Bulls, shut up. Go to the Nelly and Ja Rule concert because you're an idiot. Yes, shut up.
Yo,
you're a loser.
That's the last thing I want.
Come on, man. All right, let's get out of here. Pat, send us off, bro.
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Watch out for Giannis on the up the A gap.
You can follow me at CEO Haize. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. If you're on the podcast side, go and hit the subscribe button over on the YouTube side. If you're a YouTube watcher, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. By the way, Spotify listeners, do you guys know you can leave comments now under podcasts? Do that. We'll start reading some of those comments, man. Before Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls, man. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.